Hey everybody, and welcome to session 2 of MEDT 3401. I'm looking at the course plan right now because sometimes it's easier to see what are the basic things that I need to achieve in this session. We're in session 2. It runs from Monday, January 20th to Sunday, February 2nd, and there's 4 big things that are points-bearing items. The rest of the things inside of the module are there to support you in doing these 4 things. So you don't want to just head straight to these things and do them. You want to cruise through that content module and look at the resources there that are there to support you. But just know that you're going to be doing a Wiki Foundation project worth 10 points. You're going to read chapter 20 of David and Cuban, and then you're going to do a reading response. Now, this question will come up with a number of folks. I hope it doesn't, but because I'm going to tell you right now the answer to this question. But folks want to know, where are the questions to this reading response thing, this David and Cuban thing? Well, if you have to do the Wiki Foundation first, so this is one of those modules where you want to go in order. So you want to do the Wiki Foundation first before you do this. If you do this first, then you're not going to know what are the questions you're trying to answer about this reading. But by doing Wiki Foundation and doing it correctly, you create a page on your wiki that has the questions on it. And then you would go and just answer the questions pertaining to this one reading. So that's another thing you want to do by the end of the module. Session 2 discussion, the digital school is taking place. You're going to make 1 initial post in response to the prompt and then 2 follow-up posts by the end of the module. And then there's a Hello Nets Standards quiz, which just means in this module we're looking at the National Educational Technology Standards for teachers and students. I want you to be familiar with them, just roughly familiar, and I want you to bookmark them and intend to skim read them at some point in the near future. These are another set of standards, just like these are standards that underpin why we design the class the way that we do. So those are the 4 big things that are worth points that you want to take care of. Now let's go over into the actual module. Let's see, how do I get there? I'm going to go into Student View. And I'll just go ahead and click Content. And we're in session 2, Wiki While You Work. We've got a checklist. We've got a course plan that you want to keep an eye on. Just kind of eyeball it every once in a while. It's what we were just looking at. We've got upcoming class meetings. But if you may have noticed, I hope you noticed on the course home that I made an announcement about the class meetings, that I had to change those dates, and those dates are now reflected on the this page now. The new dates are yes, February 1st and 2nd. So I pushed them back by 1 week because I actually have a work meeting this Saturday. Kind of a strange time to have a work meeting, but it's actually something that my department needs to go do in Atlanta on Saturday. A few of us in my department have to go do it because we're trying to set up a program to teach computer programming. So we have to go visit a site that's doing that. And this Saturday was the only day that we could do that. So I'm sorry I had to push those back. If you put your name down on there, but you now cannot make it, you might want to go in and edit and revise. This session is not super necessary. If you miss it, you can still do the podcasting assignment, which is the point of this session, is that I teach podcasting. I teach it in an old school way, even though now a lot of us have new tools that, we can use to do it. All right, so back into the content module. I'm looking at the introduction section. These are the items in there. I'll come back to the checklist in a minute, but we've got these other sections. The wiki section on creating your wiki foundation. Another section on just wikis in education generally, in case this is a tool that piques your interest. And a lot of you are probably familiar with wikis. Some of you are probably not. So looking at this list of how others are using them may sort of generate some ideas for you. Here's the information about the reading, the David and Cuban reading I alluded to earlier. Here's going to be the section for the session 2 discussion, the digital school, the Hello Standards section here, and then Voices from the Field enrichment here, an interview with, I think it's a school library media specialist, this module. All right, so I'm going to look at the checklist. And remember, you can complete these things as you go through them, check them off, and hopefully it will save properly. So do go check out those upcoming class meetings, see if there's a time you'd like to come. They're optional. Take the quiz over the NETS T, NETS S. Again, it's not a penalizing kind of quiz. You don't have to know anything to take the quiz, except you have to know where to find these standards. And you have to be aware that they're something that you should be familiar with. Wikis in this class, I talked to you about the 2 wiki domains. You can make a Wikispaces wiki or like on the outside, or you can make a wiki.westcott wiki. I talk about that here. You make that decision what you want to use, and then you undertake this assignment wiki foundation. Here's a note about the readings page, the thing that confuses people. They're like, where do I answer the questions of the readings? You create a readings page on your wiki foundation assignment, and then it makes sense. But if you don't do this first, or if you don't do it right, if you don't follow all the instructions on this assignment, then you might not make a readings page. You might not know what that's about. So I'll be ready to answer those questions when they come. All right, so wikis in education. Check out some example wikis. We have a teacher here, Vicki Davis, a Georgia teacher who uses them in her classroom. This Edutopia video will show you all about that. And then readings, we've got a couple of course readings that you post the answers to those on your wiki page. I've got a course readings download page. That's where you can get the first chapter. And then a couple notes here. Yeah, another note about the wiki, the readings page on the wiki, just in case you didn't see it above. And the readings, by the way, there's 3 sets of readings that you're going to post on that wiki page over the next 3 modules. So in about 6 weeks, the readings page will be due. So again, this readings page is due in 6 weeks. So you only do 1 reading this module, you do another one in session 3 and another one in session 4, and then you submit that readings page at the end. So do not feel pressured to answer later readings questions at this time. Just do the David and Cuban one for now. Here's the session 2 discussion I alluded to. And so on. Oh, and if you think you need a webcam, get one. Chances are you don't need one. You can go to the TMC to check out a webcam, or a microphone headset would do just fine. You can probably borrow a friend's laptop. Your laptop may have a webcam. You can use your phone. If it's a smartphone, you can probably download an app that will let you podcast. And so webcam is not required. You don't have to be able to make video of your face, for example, in this class. But a webcam is sort of the easiest thing I can recommend, because if you don't have one, you probably want to have one. And you could probably use a webcam more than you could use. I think a webcam is probably a little more useful than a microphone headset. Even the microphone headset's pretty darn useful too. The webcam can achieve both audio and the video, and so that's why I recommend it. But whatever you get, you just need a way to make audio recordings. So the webcam, again, is what I recommend, but there's other options. So let me know if you have any questions about that. Okay, so I just clicked through the whole module and everything looked like it was in its proper place. If you find it not to be the case, then let me know. But otherwise, have a great time in session 2. Let me know how I can help you. And now that this session is fully open, I can actually get to the business of responding to the rest of your discussion board posts. I've been building in my other class like a mad person, because I removed the textbook from it, which meant I had to rebuild everything and provide all new resources through Galileo and websites and newspapers and all kinds of stuff. And so it's just been consuming me for about the past 4 days over the MLK weekend. And hopefully I have that class 85% built. I do have that class 85% built, and this class is 95% built, so I can shift away from course building and do a little more interacting and monitoring of things a little better. All right, so let me know if you guys need anything, or you want to chat, or if you have any questions. All right, thanks. Welcome to session 2, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and go into the content module, and we're going to do a video. I'm going to do a video walkthrough of this session. Right here I have the table of contents on the left of all of the modules. In session 2, we've got these sections that you'll want to move through. Introduction, looking ahead at upcoming course projects, Hewitt Writing Center. This session's issue, because remember this is an issues class, so each session will have an issue, a session issue. Blog Buddies, Moments in Educational History, which is just for your enrichment. which I think might be one of the coolest sections, and session takeaways. So let's go ahead and launch into introduction. So these are the session headings: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major headings, and then over here on the right we see the headings and then the items that are underneath them that are within that section. Just a reminder. So at the looking ahead, we see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 6 items in there. Hewitt Writing section center, 1 item, 2 in this one, 2 in this one, 1 and 1. All right. So that's what we're about to move through. Let's start first with the Session 2 checklist, and let me go ahead and talk you through it. Now remember, at the top of the checklist, I remind you, if you have trouble seeing blocked content or you sense that some content is being blocked, you should go to this link and visit video tutorial number 3 and remind yourself, how do you unblock that content? Either it's a shield up here on the right for Chrome, up here on the left for Firefox, and Internet Explorer does business down here at the bottom. All right, introduction. So welcome. You're watching the welcome video now. It'll be ready soon. Always take a look at the course plan to see what's going on, because we are technically I just made a bunch of tweaks in it here in the end of the first module, and I don't feel like detailing all of those tweaks that I made. So I would suggest that you go ahead and just assume from this point forward it's brand new, it's ready to go. It's really not different. None of the points are different. I did push back the ethics project by 1 session, for example, and I did move around 2 blog posts, but that makes no difference to you. Originally we were going to do BYOT in session 6, now we're doing it in 5, and so on. So the changes I made were negligible, not worth jotting down. But from this point forward, and this is something, I added the Declaration of Field Experience survey here just to help you, but it's something that's also inside of the module. It's not for points, but it's very important that you get this going immediately. Just a quick reminder though, when I do make changes to the course plan, I note them down here so that you don't have this sense that, oh my gosh, you moved something, but I don't know what, and now I have that insecure feeling that things are moving and I'm not being informed of it. So at the bottom, if I ever make a big change to the course plan, I put it down here. I don't think I'm going to make big changes in this semester because I think I have a good balance here, and the last session is very light. I'll go ahead and talk about the final portfolio right now. In session 1, you made the wiki creation and setup. So you made a wiki and it had like 6 pages on it plus a home page. Basically, a lot of the work that you do in this class, your blogs, your blog buddy work, your takeaways, your ethics project, your philosophy of education project, your hot topics project, those things, when you're working on them, you put them on that wiki. You will put those on the wiki before you submit to the Dropbox. By the end of session 6, you will pretty much put everything on that wiki that you need to have on it. So in session 7, when you have the final portfolio, you almost have to do nothing. Just go in there and smooth it over and make it look good. You know, no yellow text, no unevenness. You want to tidy it up. And then so this frees you up for the last session to just wrap up your field experience log and reflection. And so it's a really light last session. And I don't see myself having to remove a lot of work or anything like that because of a too heavy load or anything. I do that sometimes, but probably not going to happen here. But like I was saying, any changes will be noted at the bottom. All right. So do check out the most recent version of that course plan. Looking ahead at upcoming course projects, something I want you to do in this module is figure out where you're going to do your field experience. I want you to look at the instructions. I actually want you to read the instructions for the field experience log and reflection assignment. You go into the Dropbox and you read the linked instructions. I want you to read through the whole thing. If it helps, you can watch the little videos that I made. So basically, there's all these different sections where I try to be detailed in my explanation. You know how sometimes too little information leaves you confused? I try to be thorough. And so that's why there's a video that goes with each section in case my explaining it aloud makes it easier to understand. But everything you need to know is written in there. Read through that and figure out where you're going to do 5 hours of field experiences where you observe in the community for 5 hours. It can be in Carrollton, it can be in the town you live in, it can be, there's a variety of options, but But I need you to check that out and understand that it cannot be in a regular school setting during the school day. Okay? But you can go to school settings after the school day, like after school programs and things like that. But I'll let you read about that, and you need to select that. If you're a speech language pathology major and you want to be in the comprehensive community clinic, sorry, my children were interrupting me. The comprehensive community clinic at the West Georgia campus offers opportunities for you to observe speech therapy sessions taking place or to watch videos of speech therapy. But before you do that, you have to have an orientation. So there will be a session offered on Wednesday, January 22nd. I went ahead and pulled this up. Wednesday, January 22nd at 10 a.m. in the Comprehensive Community Clinic, room 264 of the Education Annex. Try not to be late. Attend the orientation, and you have to sign the confidentiality agreement before you can begin observations in the clinic. I will ask Miss Laura Smith, Dr. Laura Smith, excuse me, if she can make additional orientation dates for you guys, because I'm getting you this information a little bit later than some of the other classes. Partly because I provide 5 hours of field experience in the class, so it wasn't as urgent to get it going in the first module. But I will look into that for you speech language pathology majors. Okay, so figure out where you want to do your field experience. I challenge you to try to figure it out, and then tell me in the declaration of field experience form what that will be. You'll need to, there's a variety of pieces of information you have to give me, like, and when you read these instructions, it'll tell you what kinds of information are asked for in this, and you can always just click on this form and just look at it and then come back and fill it out later. 4 other major projects in the class. One is the ethics project, where as teachers you're going to explore teacher code of ethics, I'm speaking too fast. Speech language pathologist, you'll look at the ASHA ethics code, and you'll go try to find an ethical breach and reflect on it. In the philosophy of education project, you're going to read about philosophies of education and try to determine where yours is at. You're going to take a survey in the reading that will hopefully help you kind of see where yours may be. This is some people might call this iffy, trying to figure out your educational philosophy at this point. It could be that you figure it out 10 years from now. It may take 30 years. I have a funny article about people a guy who was complaining about this particular assignment that we give people, and I'll try to remember to share it with you guys. The Hot Topics in Education assignment is your chance to go explore an educational issue that we may not be looking at in depth, and you get to pick what it is that you do. So go check that out. That's coming up later on, but you can start collecting information about it now. You basically have to find 5 outside sources related to your topic that you choose, and then kind of report on it. And again, like I said earlier, the final portfolio is really just a smoothing over of your wiki setup and creation, wiki creation and setup assignment. Plus, you have to have added just a few links from the various assignments and the assignments themselves over the course of the semester. But it's really a smoothing over by the time you turn it in. Hewitt Writing Center, I've added materials there to give you just some broad assistance with writing, with a little bit of critical thinking, a little bit of excuse me, links to APA and OWL, APA and MLA sites on the OWL website. And I made a video presentation about it all, about how you write about educational issues. Okay, in this session we're looking at the big picture of the United States educational system. We're looking most specifically at the years between 2000 and the present day. So from George W. Bush, both of his terms, to both of Barack Obama's terms so far. And we're looking at the big issues that have come up over the past 13 and a half years. So check that out. There's a blog post. There's a lot of instructions, and a lot of detailed instructions in there for you. And in addition, I provided you with the book chapter that you're going to read. This is not an easy book chapter. Depending on how much you pay attention to politics and history and current events, this could take you anywhere. It took me about an hour to read the chapter. It was 20 pages. It took me an hour, but it would have taken me a lot longer 5 years ago. I've been studying a lot of this stuff lately, so it's a lot more familiar to me. It might take some of you up to 5 hours. If you're a slow reader, if you're not familiar with some of these issues, if you're really new to this, that kind of thing, I think it would have taken me 5 hours, at age 20, because a lot of the concepts may be new to you, and it's also written. It's written at a pretty high level. It's a challenging text, so give it the time it deserves. It's the most important reading in the group. This is provided to you through fair use doctrine, by the way. You can provide 10% or less of a book. I can provide that to you, and that is not infringing on copyright, but I like to provide it inside of the course and not outside. I don't want to totally offend the authors by putting it out on the web. So it's behind locked doors in this course, so you do need to download that. The rest of the materials related to this blog post are actually on the page. They're linked directly there. All right, for Blog Buddies, this module, we're not going to assign you a blog buddy just yet. You're going to actually just promote your own blog. You're going to practice, you're going to make your blog post, and then you're going to promote it on the Google community yourself. So check that out. Practice doing that, and then starting in session 3, you'll be posting an assigned classmates blog, a summary of their blog on the Google community. Moments in educational history. I'm kind of curious why that's not appearing. I'm going to pause you while I fix that. Okay, so I went back and fixed this. I must not have saved it when I added it. For moments in educational history, I like to provide, snippets of interesting people in education. And I absolutely love the BBC's reporting on people who have witnessed historical events. And so we're seeing another one. In the previous module, we did a BBC Witness one with the Angel of Burundi. And here we're going to hear about Ruby Bridges. It's really intriguing retelling of her story and what it was like for her to be the first child to be going to an all-white school in New Orleans back in 1960. Session 1 takeaways. Remember, take about 5 minutes at the end of the session to jot down 3 things that you don't want to forget about the session. 3 cool things, 3 things you want to follow up on. Maybe it's a resource that you want to keep. Just jot those down for me. You just need to do little bullet points. Go read the instructions for more details about that. And then a quick reminder, you're putting those on your wiki, and so at the end of I think it's session 6, you'll be turning in that page for the session takeaway assignment. You'll get graded on it at that point. So keep up with it, and remember that everything is dated. All the blog tools, the wiki tools, they have time and date stamps. So I'll know if you put the session takeaways up there in like April, for example. You want to get them in on an ongoing basis and in a timely fashion throughout the semester. Okay, so let's go ahead and cruise through just a little bit. This is the page that has this video on it. Course plan, you want to check that out. The field experience log and reflection. So there are those instructions for the field experience. Do read those in depth. That's one assignment up in the future that's due at the very end of the semester that you want to read in depth right now. This is the form where you'll put the information about your field placement that you're seeking. I suggest that you actually contact the people you want to be placed with, that you want to go observe, and make a plan ahead of time. Here's the instructions for the ethics project. Check that out. Philosophy of education project. So these are things you can put on the back burner a little bit, but just be aware of them for now. And final portfolio. The Hewitt Writing Center, as promised, there's a video explaining, because it's kind of hard to write about educational issues. So that was my approach here. I'm trying to help you guys to do that. So I give you a lot of good information here, but I'm not going to belabor the point. I'm going to continue on. I'm counting on you to look at that stuff. Here's your blog post prompt. I always give more information than you probably need. Here's the download, the chapter you can download of the book. This is the chapter 13, American History, American Education in the 21st Century. I need to slow down, guys, don't I? And you'll need that. That's item number 3 to help you. It's right here, the Urban and Wagoner text. So go ahead and grab that reading from this page. Blog Buddies. So by session, I'll tell you what you need to do. We're in session 2, so I explain here that, how you do this particular session's Blog Buddies. All right, I'm just going to keep clicking through Ruby Bridges. That should pop up in just a moment. Yes, there it is, and it's a video that you can watch. And takeaways. I think that's it. That is it. I hope that you guys have a great session. I look forward to reading your blog posts in response to the United States context over the past 13 years and where we're headed from there. Let me know if you guys have any questions. Thanks.